The security forces suggested Putin to introduce martial law and declare a general mobilization, writes Bloomberg, citing sources in the Russian elites. According to American intelligence, the Russian Federation has lost 120,000 killed in the war against Ukraine, and taking into account the wounded, 300,000 people. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine reports that the death toll in the Russian army amounted to 258,000 people.
Those steps that the State Duma took in the last days before going on holiday, they do not leave any space for interpretation, so of course mobilization will be. Now, the army of the Russian Federation is completed at the expense of contract soldiers. Wagner PMC has left. Even convicts are recruited by the Ministry of Defense of Russia. But as I understand it, there are not a lot of contract soldiers, so there's even a queue. Although the Russian propaganda is quite intense. It seems to me that this scheme is not working and the authorities somehow understand this and are preparing a plan B, a fallback, and this plan is actually a mobilization.
Putin is delaying the announcement of mobilization as he fears the reaction of Russian citizens, the General Staff of the Estonian Defense Forces said. Therefore, Moscow wants to increase the number of contract soldiers in the army, Chief of the Estonian General Staff Mart Vendla said at a press conference. So the Kremlin is trying to cover the losses. A video of a speech by the military commissar at a factory in Tallinn has appeared on the network. He encouraged workers to sign contracts with the army. The military commissar explained, although the contract is signed for 2 years, but due to the situation in the country, it is automatically extended. Future military personnel are promised a lot of money, but at the same time, they are threatened.
Только сейчас, повторюсь,
Only now, I repeat, you can choose the place of service. A plan of 2,000 people was set for the city of Donetsk. We scored a little more than 250. This is 10 to 15% of the population, depending on the area. If we do not level the situation within a month or two, there will be a second wave of mobilization. No one will ask anyone anymore. They will send them to the military registration and enlistment office and carry summonses.
In the village of Bakchasaray in Tatarstan, they want to take the last man to the war. The Mobilization News Telegram channel writes, less than 100 people live here, but still several men have already been called up in the first wave of mobilization, and here again an agitation point was set up near the local House of Culture.
They will not campaign for signing a contract.
During the raids on migrants, the police began to deliver people to the military registration and enlistment offices, Russian telegram channels write. Not so long ago, a raid was carried out at a vegetable warehouse in St. Petersburg, and during the check, the police found almost 400 citizens of other countries, of which 55 were in Russia in violation of migration laws. They also identified more than 100 foreigners who accepted the citizenship of the Russian Federation. Almost all of them were taken to the district military commissariat for military registration. Earlier, the Kremlin stated that foreigners should be issued a Russian passport simultaneously with military registration.
Our proposal is to synchronize the issuance of a Russian passport and military registration. How to do this formally, let the relevant services decide. We are ready to take part in thinking over a formal procedure for synchronizing these two acts. Valery Fadeev, head of the Presidential Council for the Development of Civil Society and Human Rights, during a press conference.
In the Chelyabinsk region, the military registration and enlistment office calls for a medical examination of previously serving men. Photos of the summons were posted on the network. Human rights activists remind, in order not to get killed in the war against Ukraine, in no case should you interact with the military registration and enlistment office in Russia. Reported by Angelika Brushnevska, Pavlo Shtermach, UATV News.